Director of WERCBench Labs.
So he's Director of WERCBench Labs and here to tell us about their program, which is soon to be accepting applications.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it, glad to be here. Again, my name is Jeff Anthony. I've been with our organization about 2 years, and this is the second year that we've done our WERCBench Labs program. So I'm going to give you a quick overview, go through about 20 slides in 15 minutes or so. So I'll go pretty quick, but then really would love to hear questions, comments, and we're making our announcement tomorrow. So this is a very timely presentation, and we hope if you're interested that you seek this out or spread the word to others. So I'm going to give you a quick background on our parent organization, which is called MWERC. That's the Midwest Energy Research Consortium. Give you a quick overview of WERCBench Labs, what we did last year, an update for what we're doing this year, and again, the announcement goes out tomorrow, so very timely. So MWERC, or the Midwest Energy Research Consortium, is a nonprofit research consortium formed in 2009. We started doing research on energy technology topics, and it was born out of conversations between some of our business members like Johnson Controls, Rockwell Automation, Eaton Corporation, with academic organizations that were doing research like UWM, Marquette, MSOE, and saying there needs to be better coordination on the research. So that's how we got our start back in 2009, and we're now spreading to an 8-state region. So we started as the Wisconsin Energy Research Consortium, changed the name a couple years ago to the Midwest. Questions?
Is there supposed to be something on the screen?
Indeed.
I went to sleep. Just hit the. Don't pull the camera.
There we go. All right. So, all you missed was back, and so here we are. So, we now expanded to an 8-state region that's spreading out from Wisconsin to neighboring states. It's important because we're essentially the organization in Wisconsin represents the Energy Power and Controls Cluster. State of Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation identifies energy power and controls as one of the 3 fastest growing clusters in the state. So you can see some of the statistics up there, just how many companies are involved in this sector and how many employees. So our members are made up of a lot of large corporates, a bunch of smaller companies, a number of academic organizations, and then support companies. So you can probably recognize some of the logos up here. But kind of a wide variety of memberships. We're a member-driven organization right now. Most of our budget on an annual basis comes from member dues. We're shifting away from membership dues and we rely more on state grants, foundations, and other sources in the future. But this is our mission statement, just to kind of talk about who we are. It's really to drive the cluster forward. So for the benefit of all of our companies and all of our members, it's important and kind of our critical mission to move the industry forward and do whatever we can to grow the energy power and controls sector. So we kind of use this graphic to show the whole community, all the companies and all the people interested are kind of at the top. And then our 3 lines of business are shown in those blue ovals. We still do pre-competitive and sponsored research where we identify particular technology and conduct R&D sponsored by our industrial members, carried out by our academic members. And we do what we call strategic roadmaps. Every year we've taken one of our core technologies and done a really deep dive on that technology. So the first one we did was on distributed generation and microgrids. The second one was on building energy efficiency. The third one was on energy storage, and the one we're just wrapping up this year is on the energy water nexus. So in each case, we take that technology, ask all of our members to share as much information as they're willing to share, hire a couple of consultants and really explore where is this technology going, what are some of the gaps, what are some of the policy implications, what's the workforce development implications, really then educate our members, help them update their business plans, identify new areas that they can work on. And then the third circle there is our newest program that we launched last year, and that's our WERCBench Labs program. And that's our kind of complementary third leg of school to really work with new companies that want to get a start in the energy power and control sector. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And all that's shown on this slide. So those are our 3 lines of business on the left, and then on the right are the technology areas that we are still focusing on. And this is what our members tell us is important to them, where they see growth from a technology standpoint going forward. So, what is WERCBench Labs? We introduced it last spring, ran our first program last summer. We did a follow-up, kind of smaller program earlier this year, and basically tomorrow we're launching year 2. So what it is really a program to bring in new companies, entrepreneurs and startups that are directly or indirectly doing something in energy, power, and controls. So something to do with generation of electricity, transmission and distribution, or end use, whether from building automation, industrial automation, energy efficiency standpoint, anything having to do with energy, focus on electricity, that's what we want to do. For our members, it helps bring new ideas to some of our members that sometimes aren't quite as innovative as they'd like to be. It brings in new talent. In fact, out of the 9 teams that we graduated from our first program last summer, 2 of the teams were essentially acquired for talent acquisition purposes by 2 of our corporate companies. And it also, we believe, moves the whole needle forward on just seeing technology advance. Got the research program pretty well nailed down, but by working with these new companies, these startups, we're bringing new ideas to the table. So what we did last year was we took our core technology area, energy, power, and controls, and said anyone who's got a startup company in those spheres, we're interested. We also broadened it to adjacent technologies. In our first year, we wanted to make sure we had a lot of applications, a lot of applicants, and some good technologies. So we broadened it. We included things like drones, AR, VR, Internet of Things, robotics. So we got 58 teams to apply last year. So we were very happy. We got 58 teams. I think 17 of those were outside the U.S. We ended up selecting 10 to start the program last summer in June. Kicked one out about midway for non-performance, and ended up graduating 9 by the end of last year. So very successful. And we ended up having a huge event at the Harley Museum, about 500 people there, where we did demo day, and each of those 9 teams presented what it was that they worked on. Had a lot of investors in the audience, and it was a great way to wrap up. So summer 2015, great experience, great first start, and we then kind of designed an annual cycle of activities. So that early stage program is kind of our core program, and over the subsequent months last year, we had a couple other programs built kind of an annual cycle that we intended to run every year. So now we are at the beginning of year 2. So we took all the lessons learned in a kind of intensive self-assessment, went back and interviewed all the startup teams that participated, all the mentors, all of our stakeholders. Our funding for the program comes from the state, Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, talked to them. And we decided in our second year we're going to get a stronger focus, kind of tighten the technology focus on energy, power, and controls. We're going to do a lot more with our partners. We're going to expand our mentor ranks and start a new program after the first year in 2017, dealing with professors and graduate students at Marquette, UWM, MSOE, MATC, who are themselves looking at starting a business as entrepreneurs. So that program will launch in the first year. Just 2 weeks ago, we received a grant from WEDC to fund the program, so now we're ready to launch. So we're going to start right away with the second program, similar to what we did last summer. We're shifting it from summer to fall. So our early stage technology immersive program basically is a 12-week education program following the Lean Startup curriculum. We'll start that the second week in October, take a break around Christmas, and wrap up by middle of January, and scheduling a demo day probably around January 19th or so. After that, we'll start the entrepreneurial research program, and we'll do another round of the advanced innovation program, which is kind of just a graduate level for some of the teams that go through the first program in the fall. So what are some of the elements of our program? Well, one of the big strengths we had last year was our mentors. We went out and canvassed entrepreneurs, people with startup experience, our member companies, both industrial and academic. Started the summer with about 40 mentors. We had 68, I think, by the time we were halfway through, and close to 80 by the time we did demo day. So these people are volunteers. They participate in a variety of roles, but classic kind of mentor, coaching, feedback activities. It really is kind of a strength of our program, and we think we have kind of a world-class lineup. We heard that from the startup teams, that was one of the most valuable things. So we're beefing up and building on our mentor ranks. Again, we're going to have stronger linkages to our core technology focus for our overall organization. So we're really going to focus on energy, power, controls, and we're going to take those 4 roadmaps, which are proprietary documents for our members, but create public versions and send those out as part of the application package. If any team has a technology that lines up well with one of those 4 roadmaps, that's going to be a very strong consideration who we bring in the program this fall. So the timeline is we make an announcement tomorrow. The application window opens tomorrow. We'll be sitting down with all of our mentors in mid-August and kind of sketching out the roles and responsibilities of the mentors. Application window will close on September 16th. We'll announce and select the teams by the 21st. And then about 4 weeks later, start the program, second or third week in October, and in, like I said, early January with demo day to follow. So that's the timeline. This year, another change. Last year, we kind of tried to do it all ourselves. We tried to pretty much do everything ourselves, and I think one of the big lessons learned was that's not the way to go. There's already a lot of different accelerators and similar programs in southeastern Wisconsin. One of the things we realized is we got to work with others and do it in a collaborative fashion. So those 4 organizations we're partnering closely with, and we'll probably identify additional partners to join on in the next couple of weeks. But we're going to actually have some of these partner organizations be the instructors for the program this year rather than us do it, and just tap into as much expertise and experience as they have, so we're not doing it ourselves. So key features, $20,000 made available to each team we select from the WEDC, the State Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. Each team will get a $10,000 check, basically right after they're selected. And then at the end of the program, if they make it through the 12-week program and graduate, they'll get another $10,000 in a royalty-based financing mechanism based on the investment they're going. We have a facility on 27th Street, just north of Capitol Drive. It's part of the Century City redevelopment. That's where we're located, and that's where we'll teach the majority of the classes. We'll probably do a class or 2 down here or in other locations, but that will kind of be home base, and each team will have access to facilities in that building that we're just in the process of building out as well. So again, I think I have a repeat slide there on the timeline, but quick summary. We announce tomorrow, the live press release, our website, applications due on the 16th. There's the WERCBench Labs website. There's a couple handouts on the back if you want to grab one of those. But we're very excited about this. We hope we get as many applications as we did last spring. We got 58 applications and a hard time choosing 10 teams out of this 58. See me if additional questions, and please help spread the word. Questions?
So on the scale of somebody who has an idea, wants to get started, really doesn't know where to start, to somebody who's very experienced, very deep subject matter expert, just needs a little bit of help and guidance, where's your audience bias toward?
I think we're open to anybody on that scale. In the latter case, if someone's really pretty far down the path and isn't necessarily going to benefit from going through 12 weeks of customer discovery interviews, and they've already been through the lean, startup curriculum, I'm not sure how much value they're going to get out of it. But clearly, newbies and people really just getting started, as long as they've got something in place, we do require them to have a pretty solid idea. We require them to have some type of entity in place, LLC or something. But early stage is the key here, so we really want to help people get started. Maybe they've got a little funding from family and friends, but really haven't done anything in terms of, investor. We work with those teams definitely.
You mentioned using a lean startup approach. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means and why you selected lean startup as opposed to whatever else there is?
Yeah, so as we looked around, we hired a guy named Greg Meyer, that probably a lot of you know. And Greg Meyer's a big believer in the Steve Blank approach on this, so that's what we felt worked really well last year. And as we sat back and said, should we consider something else, we just felt that 12-week outline that we developed with Greg last year was the best way to run this. So we thought we had a lot of success with it last year, and so the whole 12-week curriculum is patterned after that. And that's what we're going with again this year.
So someone who goes through your program, you partner with Johnson Controls or Rockwell Automation to partner these startups with those large corporations, or have these corporations buy this idea? Or, I mean, what is the ultimate end goal?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and that's really what we think is one of the strengths of the program. Each of those member companies, Johnson Controls, Rockwell Automation, they will be participating throughout the 12 weeks as much as they want. Most of them have a mentor assigned, so those mentors will be very familiar with the teams. What we did last year was we did a number of meetups essentially, so the startup teams and the corporates could mingle and learn about each other. And we also let the corporates, the industrial members, kind of self-select if they wanted to latch onto one team and work with that team, or monitor all of them throughout it. They all kind of jumped in to varying levels, and a couple of our industrial members said, you really didn't have anybody in last year that we got excited about, so tell me who you're bringing in this year. So they're already kind of chomping at the bit to figure out who's going to apply and how they can get involved. So it'll be some industrial members will probably see our teams when we announce them and get excited and participate actively. Others say, no, nothing in this group, so we'll wait till next year.
I'm not sure how to phrase the question. What do you think is the motivation for corporates to participate, or what do you propose, or what's the value proposition to them in terms of what they get out of it?
We started designing this program in February of last year, and by the time we got to April, when we were about to announce and talk to some of our industrial members, we said, we basically did like a business model canvas for how we wanted to design the program, and we did everything in terms of the benefits we were bringing to the startups. We sat at one of our member meetings, I think it was like the third week of March. A lot of the members kept asking questions saying, did you think about this? And we sat back and we said, we need to tweak the program. So we did kind of a last minute tweak to the program, realizing that the program was going to bring as much value, if we did it well, to our industrial members as it was to the startups who ran through the program. And sure enough, we went back and made some changes because many of our members said, this gives us a chance to look at some new thinking and new ideas that sometimes within our corporate walls, as much as we try to set up like an incubator or an innovation group or a skunkworks type operation, it just doesn't work. So, if you're going to bring in some of the best and brightest, we want to learn from that. Some of them, there's a pure talent acquisition play. So like I said, 2 of the 9 teams we graduated before the end of the year were essentially acquired. Not so much for the product they were working on, but the talent that the corporates recognized when they started working with them. And just opening up new ideas. A couple of the teams working on Internet of Things and the drones team that we had in, I think just opened some of the eyes of our corporate members to, hey, maybe we don't necessarily want to acquire that company, but it gives us something to think about. So I think we realized right before we launched that we were bringing more value to our corporate members than maybe we thought we would be. Other questions?
So with the corporates being there, startups, obviously they're not very well funded, not necessarily having the backing that they necessarily need. What kind of protection do you have for those startups in terms of whether it be their own IP or helping them to establish IP to protect them from your members, should they just decide to say, hey, let's go do this on our own?
So we do tell our members that everything is kind of hands-off until the program's over. So if our members want to get into discussion on acquisition, town would say after the program's over. So that's one thing. In our building, we also have Whitehurst Beck, Dudek, what's the new name? Hush Blackwell, just merged. There are legal business service provider in our building, so they sit down with the teams right at the beginning and kind of go through IP, articles of incorporation, whatever they need to help each of the startups kind of do a few things along those lines. Big benefit of the program is I get to wear this t-shirt again, I don't wear my suit and tie once I get the program going, so that's a side benefit we do.
Last question we ask, if there are no other questions, of everyone that presents at 1 million copies, what can this community do to help WERCBench Labs?
Spread the word. I'll get you the press release, and you can distribute it perhaps as well, but we go live with everything tomorrow, and the main thing we're worried about is not reaching teams that would be perfect candidates. We still tend to be kind of a corporate-driven organization, so we're great on reaching out, and we're trying to do a lot more on social media to reach the right audiences. But a lot of you that maybe don't have anything going on in energy power controls, we know someone that might be a good fit getting into the universities. So those of you that are at Marquette, Mississippi, whatever, that's a reach out as well.
Great, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you all of you.